Why be moral? An ambitious, academically astute young woman went to Harvard, full of hopes and aspirations, intent on achieving success. Aware of her economic disadvantage, she worked hard. She cleaned some of her classmates' rooms to supplement her income. She would soon become disillusioned and disgusted. She thought Anna would be championed in an ethics and morality class. It would soon become clear that there were those who only took such classes for their esteem, motivated by self-aggrandizement whilst parading false humility. The moral dilemma is being penalized when all things are not equal by one who could use a position of authority to be a barrier to another's greater good. This situation is personal and very real, thus relevant. Like the young lady, I am financially disadvantaged, but nonetheless ambitious, aspiring, dedicated, and hardworking. I'm a serious student whose persistent hard work has earned my place on the Dean's List and honor roll. I was invited to Phi Theta Kappa at the end of my very first semester. I had spent months without an income while waiting to get my unemployment benefits. As a result, I had to move approximately 4 times in 1 year and did face homelessness and severe abuse. Despite hunger and hardships, I persevered in maintaining my studies and grades. Yet, I find myself under great stress to the point where I was getting chest pains. Undue stress, hardships, and exposure to the elements all combined, and I became sick. I leave home very early in the mornings and I get home very late at night. There are days when I was so hungry, my innards twisted. Yet I continue. Some nights I get home and I have to do 1 or 2 papers before resting my weary bones to do it all over again. My ethics professor gave an assignment, which I did, along with other papers and brought in. But I got so sick, another professor called medics. I was unable to deliver my paper because I was in the sick bay. When I returned and submitted the paper, I was horrified to see that although I earned 100, she gave me 90. What an absolutely unethical act. I requested a meeting with the professor. She missed that meeting. I scheduled another meeting and explained the circumstances. I was shocked when she stated that it was justified to penalize me 10 points, as it would not have been fair to the other students. I countered that it would not have been fair had I been at a bar drinking, gotten drunk, had an hangover, and neglected to do my assignment. The contrary was true. I had done my paper in great pain. Equally, my classmates are not slackers seeking just to get by. They are all honest students who had established and maintained very high GPAs. They are driven and concerned about their grades, the type of students who constantly do more. The more I listened to this professor's penal approach, the more troubled I became. The anguish she caused me threatened to send my health spiraling even further. In one class, I heard her state that not even death of a family member is an excuse of absence. I don't understand that, because death never comes at an opportune time, and death, especially for a family member, is quite traumatic for those who have been affected, and we have a moral duty to be considerate in such circumstances. Singer hypothesizes that intelligence has nothing to do with many important interests that humans have: to enjoy friendly and loving relationships with others, and to be free to pursue one's project without unnecessary interference from others. The nervous tension that was being put upon me made it seem as if this professor could use her power to fail me, thus interfere with my pursuit for my education and my quest to realize my mission of becoming a public interest lawyer to help reported persons and their families. By dropping my grades, she would adversely affect the scholarships that are my only means of financing my education. She gave me a B for the debate and a B- for my civil disobedience paper. Singer further states that when we make ethical judgments, we must go beyond a personal judgment or sectional point of view and take into account the interests of all those affected. Unless we have sound ethical grounds for doing otherwise, this means that we weigh interests considered simply as interests and not as my interest or the interest of people of European descent or of people with IQs higher than 100. This provides us with a basic principle of equal considerations of interests. Ross's prima facie ethics states the moral guidelines as duties. The fourth prima facie duty is non-injury. The duty of non-injury, also known as non-maleficence, is a duty not to harm others physically or psychologically, to avoid harming their health, security, intelligence, character, or happiness. And in my case, I think that all of these are being compromised. The fifth duty, harm prevention, is in the prima facie duty to prevent harm to others from causes other than him or herself. Beneficence, the duty to do good to others, to foster their health, security, wisdom, moral goodness, or happiness. This duty, says Ross, rests upon the fact that there are other beings in the world whose condition we can make better in respect of virtue or of intelligence or of pleasure. Aristotle, universally renowned philosopher, according to Shafi, established two distinct categories of virtues, intellectual and moral. Intellectual virtues include qualities such as wisdom, knowledge, rationality, clarity of understanding, and cognitive intelligence. Aristotle believes that intellectual virtues are developed through teaching and practicing over time. From kindergarten to present, we are being trained to develop a basic framework of knowledge, including critical thinking and language articulation. Moral virtues are somewhat different. They include such qualities as being temperate, just, courageous, compassionate, generous, just, courageous, and truthful. Moral virtues are developed over time, and unlike intellectual virtues that require a great deal of formal education, Aristotle believes that moral virtues are developed through consistent and ongoing practice. Becoming a compassionate person necessarily involves engaging in ongoing acts of compassion toward other deserving people. Gradually, acting compassionate becomes a habitual way of thinking and behaving. I was amazed when we were given this assignment. I had agonized and worried as it seemed as if this professor had been bent on failing me. I got tired of worrying and prayed. I realized that there are times when the self that we think we are is not the self we project to others, or not how others view us. This professor just recently got her doctorate, so she's learned. However, this is the first time she's teaching an honors class and does not understand that these scholars who love pedagogy and work hard. Similarly to the situation at Harvard, the professor who has stated that she never experienced lack, hunger, or homelessness does not realize that a significant number of those in this class has not only experienced but endured all of the above. In spite of hunger, homelessness, not having metro cards to get to school some days, these students persevere. These are students who consistently maintain at least a 3.2 GPA. I have a 3.87, and not only is my grades being threatened, but my health and overall well-being. The fact is that I'm not the only student with 6 classes this semester, plus extracurricular obligations and work. Some even have small children to care for. This professor no doubt means well and is trying to establish a name for herself. But by having a penal outlook, she's creating undue hardship for very good students who have come to learn and to excel, to rise out of the ashes. The best solution for this ethical dilemma is to apply the moral aspects of Aristotelian virtue ethics. According to Shafi, the concept of character as a virtue character is derived from the Greek word character, a term that itself comes from the word kerosene, meaning to make sharp or to engrave. Aristotle says, we are not concerned to know what goodness is, but how we are to become good. For this alone gives a study of ethics its practical value. Aristotle, Dr. Shafi asked the question, what is your moral character? How do you think others view you? The stress from the workload and simply the constant threat of penalty made this class a burden. Like the young woman at Harvard, I come with high ideals and was very disappointed at the penal nature of the class. As a result, I do not wish to participate in the charity event. I do several charity ventures. The reason is, I have seen so many rotten rich persons who will treat their housekeepers, underpay their workers, yet hold big annual charity events. I do not want to be a part of what to me seems not to be genuine. Hopefully, by making this video, I can help my professor, who I am sure is a good person, but her zeal can hurt. Unlike the student at Harvard, I will not quit, nor will I walk away.